Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you. I'm Wiley. I'm the host, the creator of Wiley Report. And today I'm giving you reflections from the kitchen as I'm cooking paella. Paella is this dish that I found out about through a book. I can't hold the book up because I'm cutting vegetables, and then that means I have to stop this video, go wash my hands because I'm touching, book. Cleanliness is important. But I will put the link, put the title of the book in the video information. But it's Real Men Cook by K. Kofi Moyo or Moyo. Hope I'm saying that right. Rites, Rituals, and Recipes for Living. What I like about the book, it was published in 2005. What I like about the book is that they list stories. So it's like a recipe on the left and the right hand margins of the book. And then in the middle, there's a story about the author who shared that recipe, and possibly a story about where that recipe came from, or why that recipe was important, or a memory that's attached to that author and the recipe. I like that. I know also there is another book that's written by some wonderful, beautiful, amazing trans men and their stories about cooking. I want to say that's one of the person that spearheaded that initiative is Charlie Burton, but I don't know the specific title. But should I find that book, I'll also find out that specific title. I will list that for you too. But like I said, I started making that recipe in 2005. It was something that was interesting to make. I started cooking recipes for myself as a graduate student when I was obtaining my master's in library and information studies, MLIS at Florida State. And I liked Cooking Light magazine because they gave the nutritional value, as well as most of the ingredients that they would share for the recipes. You could use it in more than one thing. In as much as they did do recipes that were solely for that, the majority of the recipes that they shared, you could use the staples that you purchased for that in other things. So that's what I liked. And so since I was already reading Cooking Light and cooking different things for myself, I started looking through this book, and the paella recipe was what I found. And the paella recipe, it calls for the red, yellow, green peppers, green onions, tomato sauce, crushed tomatoes, olive oil, lemon juice, onions, seafood seasoning or fish seasoning or Mrs. Dash. And then they have shrimp, whitefish, mussels, crab, crab legs, or what that recipe calls for. I might be missing another fish, but that's the majority of what the recipe is. And some Worcestershire sauce. I am making it, and crab, I believe crab might be in it too. I was excited that the Schnucks, which is the grocery store in the Midwest, had a whole bunch of fish. Because most of the time when I go to, because I'm so far inland, when you go to the grocery store for seafood, all I'm saying is it's not the same experience that when you live in Georgia, or when you live or visiting or in areas that are near an ocean or a body of water. It's just a different experience. And as a person who used to live in Florida, that's one of the things that I miss the most, is that you could just go to the grocery store and you could get whatever type of seafood that you wanted. I really miss that. But we'll be there again. We will. A place near a body of water. Yes. So, like I said, I'm making that for dinner. I don't think it'll be tonight, but it'll be. I don't know if I'm going. I mean, it's gonna be made tonight, but I don't know if I'm gonna be that deeply hungry, because I ate leftovers for breakfast this morning, which was some steak and some string beans. So This is more, I like cooking. I like the preparation for it. It grounds me. It makes me feel good. And I know tomorrow is busy for me. Tomorrow I have a meeting with my advisor. I have to finish my annual review. And then I am also guest speaking in my advisor's class discussing being a librarian. So I figured I'd make it today because I don't know my bandwidth tomorrow. And in truth, when you think about stews, better the next day. After, I mean, I'm not saying they're not good on the first day. I'm just saying they're even better on the next day. And so I was like, I think earlier I was telling you that about seafood, and I was so excited that Schnucks had a wide array. It really felt like their truck must have come in. That's how it felt, because I've never seen that much seafood there. Or maybe that's how it is. I don't know. So, because it's not like I go to get seafood a lot. Most of the time, I get catfish or some type of fish that I'm gonna fry and call it a day. So I was never necessarily specifically looking for a lot. So I went there, and for this recipe I'm using, I purchased some catfish, some lobster tails, scallops, and shrimp. And that's what I'm going to be placing in this recipe. So as I was saying earlier, all the things that are in the recipe, you generally do, the peppers, the onions, the olive oil, the seafood seasoning, lemon juice, Worcestershire sauce, tomato sauce, and the crushed tomatoes for you let that cook together and simmer for about an hour. And then you add jalapenos. I didn't get jalapenos, I got habanero peppers. And crushed red pepper flakes. Oh, corn. Corn is also in there. Sorry, corn is in there too. And you let that cook, and then you cook the seafood less, because it doesn't take seafood that long to cook. So that's what I'm doing today. How y'all doing today? This week has been a decent and good week. I spent most of last week working on my revisions. I turned them in. If you ask me how I feel about it, I don't know. I mean, I feel a bit ambivalent, because I don't really know what to compare it to. It's similar to the writing process of a journal article or a paper, but in many ways, that's not what it is. You're also waiting for the comments of your committee members. I don't even know if they've read it yet, because normally you get a notification that says, they're in the document. I haven't seen that yet, but I turned it in on Thursday. Friday was Valentine's Day. They have lives. Maybe if the meeting is not until Monday at 11:30, there's still time. So we'll see what they say. Such a process for writing and being a doctoral student. The classes portion was similar to when I was a master's student. The rest of it has been completely different because I didn't do a thesis option with my master's. So I'm hopeful, and we'll just keep writing. And that's literally what you write for comments until they tell you to stop. So that's the process. You literally write for comments. So that's what we're doing. Awaiting their comments. I also have my library annual review where I talk about my research, not teaching, but I talk about my research, my librarianship, and my service. This annual review, I will be talking about my teaching, because I did the experience of being a teaching assistant, and I got to teach two sessions and like a half of a third one, because I talked about librarianship there as well. So I'll be talking about that in my annual review. Also this week, what did I do? I went to the information science town hall. I think oftentimes one of the challenges in the town hall experiences, because I'm done chopping up things, thank God. I don't have anything else to touch up, so I need to wash my hands again. Um, the interesting thing about the town hall experience is the goal of the town hall, or the aim of the town hall, is for individuals to come and express, their issues, ideas, concerns, and find out who's the appropriate person to talk about. Not necessarily a complaint, but just who's the person to talk about things. It's also a gathering because most of the time people are so busy and so varied across different areas. You don't get to see other people, so they do it in person, and they also do the Zoom availability. So it's a hybrid meeting, and faculty are there too. So it's always interesting because you learn, what other people are concerned about, because what they're concerned about or what's going on for them or where they are in their process might not be where you are. It's also a chance to see people, like I said, that you haven't seen in a while. Yet it is also true that because people are in different phases or different parts of the journey in graduate school, means they have different needs. So some people might be deeply, deeply, deeply into seeing other people, connecting with others, because it can be a lonely process. You really do need community, people to find to talk with, whether it's people in your department, in your cohort, or others in other departments. So there's a deep need for that. Please hear me from my heart. I'm not saying there's not a need for that. There is, because the journey to get a PhD, the journey to any goal, I believe, is a marathon. It is not a sprint. So you need a village of support people, and you need to be able to also live your life outside of just being a graduate student. And some people too are also working full-time jobs, and they have families, and they have children, and they have pets, and they have people who care about them deeply. So you need to be able to do all. Is the mental, emotional, spiritual fortitude is needed for your program, and is needed for your everyday life, because at some point you will not just be a student. So these are lessons that I share, or things that I say, because I've learned them the hard way. Because when I first came to the university, I was not a graduate student. I was a librarian on the tenure track. And making tenure, honor, privilege, love it. Absolutely loved. I learned that I love research. Love that. What I think, if you could go back, is have a little bit more balance outside of just work. Did I get to go to some great places? Yep. Did I get to take my wife with me on some great places? Yep. I absolutely did. Yet I also learned that you have to live a full life and not just be great at work. Work on your other skills, because at some point you won't be at your job. So what will you have? That's just saying, just sharing. These are not, I'm not reading anyone or being shady. These are just things I learned. So as I was saying, you had some people that are, because there was somebody that brought up concern about wanting to meet other people. And then there were, somebody said, oh, I can open up a Zoom room. It's also the fact that some people can go to Zoom spaces, but they don't necessarily find community solely in a Zoom room. They want to physically meet other people. Fair. Then there's also people where they're like, they don't want to email about that. They really don't, because they're emailed out. That's fair too. And I was talking to my advisor about that, because we were talking Friday. I went to writing group, and I was saying the best description that I have about this experience right now is, it really feels like, in this whole dissertation proposal to dissertation, it feels like you're in a cocoon. Because most of the people that I know now, a lot of them are at either dissertation proposal like me, or they already passed their prelim, which is the proposal, and they're working on a dissertation. So you don't really see them, because they're wherever they are for conducting the study that they said that they were going to do, because that's what a dissertation proposal is. It's literally the first three, at my institution, it is the first three chapters of your dissertation, where you give them the introduction, the background, and the problem statement. Oh no, I said that wrong. Introduction and background, the problem statement, the literature review, theoretical framework, and the methods. So you're literally telling them what the problem is that you see, as how you came about even being interested in this problem. You provide a literature review, you tell them the theoretical framework, and then you tell them the method that you're going to use to analyze this problem. You're also sharing that what your research questions are and how you, so you break down not only what the method is, but who, what, where, when, and why of the method. You break down how you're going to do it. You talk about the ethical considerations, limitations, strengths of the method, and your rationale for the method. You talk about, you give them a timeline, like how long it's going to take you to do this, and as well as future considerations and your cited references. When you ask me, well, how long is that, Chris? It varies, because I've seen some people do the document itself and it's 44 pages. I've seen other people do a proposal and it's 66 pages. There's somebody that I looked at recently that presents sometime this month. Hers is 106 pages. My advisor told me 30. So my proposal that they're looking at now with all of those things in it that I just said is right at 30 pages. That's what you want. But your advisor tells you, and or committee tells you what they want to see. Right now, I do have 4 people on my committee, but the only 2 people that have seen it is the people I work the most closely with. They're sharing the research director role, and that's 2 of them. So that's where we're at. And then, once the other people see it, they make comments too. You address those comments, and you also, then they sign off on it. And then you set a date to do your proposal, where you basically defend, or your committee, you go in the Zoom room and your committee is there and other people, because they make it public, and they ask you a round of questions. Then the audience can ask you questions. Then they put you in another room, or they go in another room and you're sitting out there with your audience, and then they come back in the Zoom room and tell you whether or not you passed. That's the prelim in my department. So that's what you have. So as I was saying, you have people who have different needs. So when you think about like the cocoon experience, I was telling my advisor about it. It's like, well, you're going away to do this writing, to do this, to do what you said that you were gonna do. So it's like you're at the institution, but you're not. And I know that also varies for people, because some people do this and they work full time and go to school. And then some people are teachers, assistants, or research assistants. And so your schedule or your connection to your department and your university is literally centered around, well, you're meeting about your proposal, or you're meeting about your dissertation once you've already done it. So, or the draft based on the deadline that you set. So it's like you're present, but you're not as present. So what you might need when you're in that stage might be completely different than what somebody would need for coursework. And what I'm ultimately, my point in sharing that is, how do you hold space for all of it? And the need to hold space for all of it, because people have different needs. And I think sometimes, no matter the institution or organization, it's a struggle or a challenge, or there's a tension in trying to figure out how do you support everybody. And specifically when you have organizations and institutions that are growing and getting bigger, which I think that's the purpose. Everybody wants to grow. Everybody wants to make progress. It's how do you still provide support and be helpful to everybody while you're doing that process. I don't have the answers for that, but I just know that's what a lot of the meeting they were talking about. So was it helpful to go to the meeting? Yes. Do I feel that they're trying? Yes. I just think that while they're trying, and they did point out some resources, I don't know how it's going to go. We'll see. I didn't have any needs or issues that weren't addressed, because they didn't really address them. And when I say that they didn't address them, one of the things I brought up is, how do you get more teaching experience? I think that's more of the issue, is the policy that they have, not that they're not opportunities, or sometimes there are opportunities. It's just a bit hindered. So I don't know. But right, it's also true that while that's true for me, it's also true I'm not necessarily focused on that right now. I have responsibilities that I need to do for my job and working on my proposal. So because I'm doing that, so I can actually start my dissertation, I'm not as focused on when will I get to teach a class. And I just got to do a class last semester. So that was wonderful. Do I know that I want to do that and do more of that? Absolutely. I do. And I believe those opportunities will be available. We'll work on it, just not right now. That's all I got. I was just giving you an update. I use these as my own narratives of experiences in the doc student program. Is never to make anyone feel bad or throw shade. It's not. I'm just sharing my experiences as well as talking about cooking because I like cooking. It makes me happy. It brings me joy. And I'm gonna get ready and put this meal together. I will definitely put the link for the book in case people are interested in obtaining it either from seeing if your library has it or if you're interested in buying it. Because I just think, hey, it's an interesting book. If you like recipes, they have recipes on so many different things, from seafood to chicken to cakes to a lot of different things. In the stories are fascinating, and I just think meaning making is always interesting and fascinating to me. That's all I have. I thank you for your time. I hope that you're doing well. I'm wishing you a fantastic week. And if no one has said that they care about you, that you matter, know that I believe that you matter. Your existence is amazing. You're amazing. You're brilliant. You're deeply loved. I deeply love you. I care about you. In case you ever have any concerns or things you want to talk about, hey, let me know. WileyReport@gmail.com. Peace. Take care of yourself. Bye.